Welcome to the Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.
And we're live. So welcome to A Coffee with Karen, a cup of positivity with just a sprinkling of woo-woo, where each week my guests tend to be around the holistic health arena in some way or other, either from a mental, a physical or a spiritual perspective, or to be honest, in most cases, all three. Now, I know my guest today put down mental, but it's definitely the physical side of it as well. So if you could share with the listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do, and share a little bit of your story.
So first of all, thanks for having me. My name is Iarchy, and I tend to introduce myself as a weight loss and healthy lifestyle coach. I mostly work with busy people who are fed up being on the diet cycle and want something a little bit different. So I look more on the holistic side and look at their whole lifestyle as a whole. So be it from mindset, habits, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress. I used to struggle myself while working in the corporate world, so I know exactly where they're coming from. And I always said that I'm too busy to be healthy. And it's one of those things that I wish I had someone along the way that would have helped me make small changes that over time grew into big changes. And that's why I'm actually doing what I'm doing, because I tried so many diets before, and it, by failing each time over and over again, it affects your mental side, your self-esteem, your confidence, and it then affects everything else that you do in life as well. So it's not just about that number on the scale, but it's about how it affects everything you do, your family, your energy levels, your work, everything else as well.
Absolutely. And lovely to hear, because yes, if it was as simple as following the latest diet plan or exercise regime, nobody would have a problem, right? That it's far more complex because we are so complex. So what were you doing before? What made the jump? How did you progress into this arena?
So I used to work in the corporate world. I used to work in IT. I was traveling a lot, being a sales director for different countries. And I've always actually enjoyed eating healthily. I always enjoyed exercising regularly, but I just didn't know how to combine it together. And I loved what I was doing. But then at some point, the last company I worked for got acquired by another company, and I hated every minute of it. And I said, you know what? This is my opportunity to see if what I think I would enjoy doing, I really enjoy. And so I started off as a personal trainer. And I was working in a gym initially. Then I had some private clients. And then I realized that, exercise is great, but it's not enough. So I added a nutrition bit. And even then, with the nutrition bit, I helped my clients a little bit better. But it was, now they know what they should be doing, but they still don't do. So I added the extra bits to it as well.
And there you've just hit the nail on the head. There's things that we do, we know we shouldn't be doing. So it's not always just the lack of knowledge that stops us. Quite a lot of people, well, I don't know, not everybody knows what they should be doing to stay healthy. But it's quite phenomenal, do you not think, as to how big of an issue it is these days. I mean, I myself originally come from the fitness world, so I could never understand it. What do you mean you don't want to go and work out? It's wonderful, but it's 85% nutrition and just 15% exercise. I put so much energy in the exercise side of it, but it's all going to be down to what fuel you are giving your body. So where do you think it went wrong?
Oh, where does it go wrong? Loads of things, to be honest. I mean, obviously, there's the massive, massive, big pressure on the diet industry, or from the diet industry, with lots and lots and lots of confusing information. You can eat this, you can't eat that, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that, and then everyone says something different. I think that's one thing. And then the convenience of the food that's around is another one.
Yeah.
And then somehow the belief that eating healthy is expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to be if you know how to. Again,
Mm.
that's one of those things where I I'm
So it's
massively
myth,
working with my clients
myth.
as well. Is how can you make
Oh, you're
we
frozen.
back? I don't know what happened.
Oh, you're freezing. Hang on, let me make a note. How many minutes?
Are you
that
still
would-
there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah,
Okay.
you keep flittering in
Yeah,
and
I
out.
am. It kind of went black and then
Yeah, you froze. Don't worry,
okay,
I'll make a
weird.
note and we can go back in. What was the question I asked
Okay.
before then? So, so basically, what you're saying
We
is
talked about food, how, how to make healthy food not expensive. Yeah.
So it's myth upon myth upon myth upon myth. And yes, I would agree. There's just so much conflicting information, including a lot of the stuff that I personally studied. I've realised years later maybe wasn't the whole truth, because things have changed. And you're right, it's the convenience. It's the convenience. And have you noticed a change since what's been going on in the world the last few years? Have you noticed a change in clients' personal food choices? Have you noticed a big change there?
So a very small minority have taken the opportunity to review their lifestyle totally, and they have made massive, massive changes. And then a big majority, unfortunately, have allowed the current situation of the last few years to just comfort eat, comfort drink, not do, let themselves go really.
Yeah, and I'm going to be
Because
honest. I've been one of those, and I should know better. So again, it's not just knowledge, is it?
no,
I
it's
should
not.
know better, but I still press that self-sabotage button.
Yeah.
But and that's why I so believe in that. The whole emotional eating aspect is possibly 90% of it. With some people, what have you noticed? Would you say there's a sort of a pattern?
It
So
100%
some people
is.
haven't
And
and others have?
I haven't really pinpointed to one way or another. I think we all have that in one way. We all have that self-sabotage thing. But it's about being aware of it and being, I'd say, quicker on the mark to do something about it. So,
Right.
I think we all have it. Like,
Yeah.
when things go well or when things go bad, we all have that self-sabotage button. But it's about being aware. And I think the only way you can be aware of it is by, at the end of the day, ask yourself, how did today go? What happened today? Same in the morning, setting yourself up for a better day or a more positive day. I think if we don't do that extra work, or I wouldn't call it work, but that extra self-development bit or self-awareness bit on a daily basis, or daily accountability with yourself, whatever you want to call it, you just drag it on.
Yeah.
While if
Well, it's the
you
inner work, isn't
do
it?
those,
It's the inner work.
it is inner work. Yeah. Yeah. If you do that on a daily basis, you put, your finger on what's going on for you much quicker, and then you can change it again. we all have days that don't go to plan. We all have days where we just say, oh, sod it, I've got a crap day. But it's about pushing that reset button on a daily basis, really.
Yeah, got to keep going. And because I find it fascinating in myself as well, because I think, well, I don't feel great when I've eaten the rubbish. Why do I continue to do it? Because like you said earlier that, you actually enjoy eating healthy. I enjoy eating what I would consider to be healthy. So I still find it fascinating knowing that I know a certain thing isn't going to make me feel good afterwards. I'm not going to feel energized. And yet it's almost just for that instant feel good. It must be that instant dopamine addiction is overriding the rest of it, which I find to this day absolutely crazy. Right?
It is fascinating for sure. In some instances, because lack of preparation and lack of planning.
Yes.
But in some instances, it is just that pure joy that we're getting out of it, or that quick fix of something.
Yes.
That we get out of it for sure.
It's an addiction. And yeah, you said that there about the prep, because yes, it is down to, is it because everybody, I mean, well, a lot of people weren't working, so that wasn't an excuse.
Yep.
But in general, when everybody's back at work, if they're so busy, so you've said that you do tend to work with people that are on, the rat race, so they are very busy, because it is very easy to dismiss, oh, I'm too busy and I haven't prepped for today's food. And then, of course, if they've gone hungry, then that's it. It's too late. You never go shopping when you're hungry, right? So, do you feel that, again, people that are, if their real focus is business, work, and they are working long hours and they are on stress, do you think that's the key?
It probably is, but to be honest, I try and look at your health and my own well-being as Project Me. So in the same way that at work you are planned, you've got a diary, you got your list, your to-do list, you got your Gantt chart, or whatever you use at work, you can use the same tools to plan your healthy lifestyle as well. And the more you are planned and prepared, like at work, the more you're going to be successful.
There you go. And the easier it is. So then does that come down to priorities?
Yeah.
If it's important to you, then you'll do it. And then, because sometimes do you find that, just because you're not overweight doesn't mean necessarily you're healthy. And because we can't see into our body, it's very easy, unless we're seeing the weight gain and we don't want that, it's very easy then not to make it a priority to eat healthier. Would that be the case?
It is, but yeah, it definitely is. But then you can also ask yourself the question, like, how many cups of coffee do you need a day to keep going? Is that normal? Are you always tired? Because quite a lot of people that might not be overweight are always tired, or don't have the energy to do, or are snappy at home with kids. Those kind of stuff are signs of not being healthy.
Yeah. But do you think people make the connection? So again, even if people are listening at home, they're thinking, well, I'm not that much overweight, but yes, it's more than just overweight, right? Energy levels, yes, how you're feeling. Are you feeling run down? Are you, not particularly happy? Because I think those things, because they're not so obvious, people brush them aside and don't realise that nutrition actually, we are what we eat. All the older quotes are true, right?
Yeah, they are. I mean, all the old stuff are still true today, if not more true today than they used to be before. Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think? So what with all the clients that you see, why do you think that why so many people are struggling so much with their? It's not, as we said, it's not just about weight; it is about health issues as well today.
There's so many reasons, to be honest. First of all, we are busier than we were in the past. If you look at today's society, generally both parents or both, need to go to work to make a living and to be able to provide for the family, which, go back 40 years, it wasn't so much the case. So already there are less people at home, and it doesn't have to be the wife or the husband or the partner or whichever it is. One person is not at home to do the cooking and the preparation and the planning. So that's I'd say the first point. And then, to be honest, when you come home from work, do you really have the energy to then stand in the kitchen and do everything that is needed, or are there other ways? So that's I think the first thing that has massively changed is the amount of stuff that we have on ourselves, but also, all the after school clubs and all the hobbies and all the other things that we do on a day-to-day basis that, again, in the past were not so rife.
Yeah.
And then obviously you got the whole convenience thing that didn't exist in the past. So in the past you had to cook from scratch. Now you
Yes.
don't have anymore. That affects. And then, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all those, Apple TV, whatever it is, binge watching series that affects stuff like mobile phone, social media. I mean, there's a hell of a lot. I don't think you can pinpoint it to one thing. It's the mixture of all those things together that are 100% affecting our health as such.
Definitely. And I do you see it changing, in the near future? It just seems to be getting worse. I mean, yeah, I'd agree. Deliveroo, Just Eat, all these things. Oh my goodness! Stop! It's just got too easy. And I would agree. I mean, even when I was teaching ridiculous amount of classes a week, it would be a struggle because I teach at night. So then, you get home, it's the last thing you want to do is prep a healthy meal. But the problem back then, it was offsetting my diet. And of course, when I wasn't teaching 20 classes a week, that's when you really saw, because I wasn't offsetting all that. And that's when you realize what an impact that can have. So what do you think? I mean, this whole, again, the diet mentality. I mean, just the word diet, I hate it. The word diet, it just initially, it needs to be changed. Would you agree?
Yeah, because a diet is just what you eat on a regular basis, or at least that's what it should be.
It should be, but the
Would they call
instant thing is that means I'm going to have to go without. So instantly you want more of it.
The one thing I always say is, whatever diet you follow, it doesn't matter, to be honest. Think of the stuff that you can have and make a list of the stuff that you can have. It puts you in such a more positive way than just thinking of all the stuff you can't have. And actually, when you start making the list of all the foods you can have, fair enough, it might be different to what you've used to be eating, but you can still make some super tasty foods that you're going to enjoy. So why fixating on the stuff you can't have? Just think of the stuff you can have. That's a massive mindset shift there and then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one that everybody really, really does need, because yes, the instant you think you're going on a diet, just that instant thought process is, oh, I'm going to have to sacrifice something now.
Well, who do you like to do chores?
No, but they need to be done.
Well, there you go. If you look at diet as a chore, why would you be successful at it?
Exactly. But the problem is, or what I see is, I do think the real huge thing is the addiction, as in sugar. That is my pet peeve, and because what I see is that people who are struggling, they're not just struggling mentally. There is a physical addiction, so they're struggling more than somebody who doesn't have an issue because of the hormonal issues. And if you're fighting hunger, it's almost like you're setting yourself up for failure, because it's going to win out in the end. And that seems to be the big struggle with somebody that doesn't have a weight issue, might not understand, because they're not having those hunger. So, good on you. Then it's easy to stick to an eating plan. But the ones who are struggling so much, it's because we're constantly grazing, we're constantly eating. And what are the kinds of food, the foods that have changed in the last, 50 years has been phenomenal. And, sometimes it's actually hard to choose something that is what you would class as healthy, right?
It is. It really is. And quite often I see people saying, oh, but I had this and this. It's healthy, isn't it? And then you look at the ingredients, like, not really. When you start reading the ingredients and the nutritional value, it's not really. But, I totally get it. I mean, I'm, as I call myself, a Haribo addict in remission. And once in a while that Haribo stuff comes back in, be it picking mix of Haribo, whatever. So I know exactly what it feels, and it is hard when to get over it, for sure. But the only way I realize that I don't have those cravings is when I eat healthy food through the day.
Yeah.
The minute I don't, the Haribos call my name.
There you go. Yeah. So it is about being prepped, so you're not hungry, so it doesn't get to that stage, so you are craving those things.
Yeah.
But I mean, what is really missing for people to, successfully do this? Because as you said, I mean, the diet industry is a multi-billion-pound industry, and it does feel that almost a lot of them tend to set people up for failure, because then it's repeat business, isn't it? But then the flip side of that is, people have also got to remember that if you resort back to your old habits, doesn't matter what eating plan you've been on, it's not the eating plan that failed, it's you've resorted back to old habits. And if you continue to eat more than you're burning up, you're going to regain weight.
Yeah.
But do you think, again, there's so much misconception around?
It is really about your habits.
There you go.
It is 100% about your habits, and looking at them and realizing what you do and why you do. Just this morning, I had a chat with someone who was talking about her breakfast, and I said, well, were you still hungry for that fruit afterwards? She said, I don't know. I never asked myself that question. I'm like, well, if you had eggs and rice cakes and some veggies, I don't know. Ask yourself the question: do you still need that banana and those easy peelers? And she said, well, it's a habit. I'm like, well, there you go.
And that, I think, is the thing. That's the biggest. It's the resistance to change. Everybody wants this. They want to drop the weight. If they're going, they just want to do it instantly. And, but really, truthfully, they want to be able to continue doing what they have been doing.
Yeah.
And get the results. But they want to get the results without going through the process, right?
Yeah.
So that seems to be the big resistance, is the resistance to the change, whatever the change is. It's just resistance to change, because I suppose it's easier for us to do things on autopilot, which we all are, admittedly. We all are. We're on autopilot. So to actually change a habit, we have to use up a lot of energy, mental energy. We've got to stay focused, we've got to speak to you, you've got to be motivating us and inspiring us to keep on that change before that's become the new habit. And that seems to be the biggest challenge for so many people, is they've got to make
that you don't have as part of the diet plan. Yeah. And I always say, make a list of the habits that you have to change. Make a list of the habits you need to acquire. Pick the easy ones to start with. Because once you're that little step further, you feel that the bigger ones that you need to change are not as scary. And so it is a journey. You probably won't see results as quickly as you would if you start your diet, like crazy diet, for the next few weeks. But actually, you'll get to your end results much faster than if you were sticking to a diet that you know that in 3 weeks' time it won't be there anymore. So you'll be much faster to your end result by changing your habits and working at it than by just to the letter trying to follow a diet that is not sustainable long term.
Not sustainable. Yeah. I mean, you can try, it doesn't matter about willpower. Willpower will only last. I've got this theory that it only lasts 2 weeks. I've got this 2-week pattern, and we all know that, to change a habit, even then I don't agree with the 21. I'm sure it takes more than 21 days.
It takes much more time.
Yeah,
I mean, there's small things that is easy in a few weeks' time, but the habits that are so ingrained into you, they take way more than 21 days.
And even then, even if it was just the 3 weeks, there's still that week gap where willpower is going to fail. So you've got to be able to do something to get you through that extra. And that does seem to be the biggest challenge, because I suppose you're right. Everybody's busy, especially. I mean, would you say you work more with women? Do you specifically work with women, or?
More women come to me, so I definitely work with more women. But funnily enough, I've seen that the men I've worked with are much easier to stick to what we agree to than the women. So
I would agree. I have a theory about that, though.
Yeah.
I'm not going to upset the men, but quite often that's their one thing that they need to focus on. Whereas in general, a lot of women, they're juggling kids or juggling partners and parents. I don't mean juggling partners. That sounded really terrible, didn't it? What I mean is there's stuff to do and arrange. So distracted.
Yeah, so there's definitely that, but I think there's also the hormonal issue and the cycle that plays a role in it as well.
Absolutely, yes. So hormones, again, that is massive. I mean, I would say it's pretty much all hormonal. Again, it's if you're not getting, so again, people. Oh, my own daughter, right? She's never going to have an issue with weight, but you watch her; she will eat. And then when she was full, that's it. Her hormones are balanced. Yep. She gets that message to say, I've had enough, and she will stop eating. I do not have that. It's not there.
I think there's a lot to do as well with how we grew up. I don't know how you grew up, but, when we grew up is what you have to finish your plate, otherwise you can't get up. Where if you're more aware of it, I'm sure you don't tell your daughter that she needs to finish her plate.
No.
And I think that's where we written that natural message because of what we heard at home.
Definitely.
Well, she's very lucky not to have had that happen to her.
Yeah, definitely. That's part of it. And that's why I say there's so much. Even down to the sugar thing, it's not just a physical addiction, it is a mental addiction as well. We've been, we're rewarded, aren't we? You've done well at school, let's go get ice cream. You've done well at this, let's go get ice cream. Everything is a treat.
I hate that word treat.
Isn't it? But it is, isn't it? We've been brought up to believe that a treat means going out for a meal to celebrate. It's all around food. Yep. So what would you recommend people? How do they change that? What sort of rewards should they give themselves instead of it being food?
Just find what would give you some pleasure. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, a massage. It could be, I don't know, read a book in bed. I know that sounds funny, but, half an hour of bath time without anyone disturbing you.
Absolutely. Self-care. We consider it to be a luxury, or that there's some kind of, again, our conditioning, maybe not for all, but for some, feel like taking time out for themselves is in some way, we should come last. But yes, anything that you can do that, that's doesn't have to be around food, does it?
Or it could be just save that money, in a special pot and go out with the family on a trip away
Love
or
that.
to a museum or whatever it is that, the family wants to do.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
And then that's a big pet peeve of mine is, you go to these, take the kids somewhere, I don't know, like Alton Towers or somewhere like that. It's nowhere in
Mhm.
particular, I shouldn't name names, but the issue is you're not
Junk
really
food.
encouraged to take food and drink with you, so you have to
Yep.
purchase where you are. And what is it? It's absolute, yeah, not good for us.
But then even at the Olympic Games, which is supposed to be sports and exercise and whatever, I mean, I don't know if you went to 2012, but the food they served was just atrocious.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah.
sponsoring, so it's all a
The
bit,
product,
it's not helping.
McDonald's.
All these little things, I suppose, are all, you see things, it's all sponsored by some
Yep.
fizzy pop company that's just
Yeah.
probably the worst thing on the planet. So all these things, I suppose, throughout our lifetime,
Mm.
it is a little bit like that. And it well, even I've been into hospitals and I think, what are they serving people here? These people have got heart conditions and they're being given this.
Yep.
It's just like shock horror. So do
Shock
you think
horror
there's
indeed.
just not enough importance being put on the role of nutrition?
Well, it's no surprise. I mean, I actually trained a few doctors and they were just like, well, we only have half an hour in our, that amount of years of studies that we learn about nutrition. Now, how, if they don't learn about it, why
That's
would people even
crazy.
know about it?
Yeah, you surprised me because I said to you, I think when we spoke, I thought it was 4 hours. My memory is not as great as it used to be. So I hear these things or read these things, and in my head it was 4 hours out of, and I thought that was terrible. But
Well,
actually,
exactly.
yes, you corrected me there. It's only 30 minutes on nutrition. How is that possible? I mean, that you can't get an unbiased, holistic view from that. It just seems beyond.
No, you
But there you
can't.
go. So if they're not putting an importance on, what we're putting in our mouths every single day, I mean, it's crazy for anybody to not even see that.
Hmm.
That this is what is affecting us. We are what we eat,
Yep.
right?
I mean, when I go to the doctors and I explain what I'm doing or not doing and whatever, they always look at me like, oh, food is not important. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What can people do? Yes, of course. I mean, it's, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I pretty much think that is the biggest issue with any kind of
Yeah.
ailment or illness these days. Is actually down to what we're putting in our mouths.
Massively.
So, for you with your clients, what would you say are the most important 3 top tips for anybody that knows they want, that knows they need to do, maybe something about it because it might be affecting their health? Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or it's going to affect our health. And if we're in denial, like that's not really helping.
No.
Being overweight is going to be putting pressure on organs. It's going to affect our insulin. It is having an effect on our health. So what would your top 3 tips be?
The first one is be aware of what you do and why you're doing it. So look at everything you do through the day and question everything. That's the first one. The second one is look at your sleep. How much do you sleep and how well do you sleep? And in what conditions you sleep as well. So most people skimp on sleep for whatever reason. And they think they doing well with 4 or 5 hours sleep a night. You don't. And then the last thing is, I'd say, don't be shy to ask for help, which
Mm,
I know I was myself because I was very successful at what I was doing. And I couldn't understand why, if I was successful at work, I couldn't just do it. And I kept on hitting my head against the wall over and over and over again until I realized that actually you're not Superwoman or Superman. It's okay to ask for help.
I think that's a massive thing. I mean, I think any, I mean, I don't have a coach in that area at the moment, but, maybe I should. Because again, it's not down to the lack of knowledge. I think every coach in any arena needs a coach. We all, we might have one part of our life, under control, or so we might think, we've got it. But there's always going to be stuff that, maybe we do need a little bit of help with, and it might not be down to that, it's stuff that we don't know, because as we said in the beginning, we do stuff that we know is not healthy and it's not, but somehow having somebody to be accountable to can actually make that change. It definitely works for me. Give me a bit of a kick up the backside. So yes, I think that is massive, and there's no shame in it, is there? Where does this come from? It's okay to ask for help. And actually, it's being honest with yourself as well. I can remember when I used to, many years ago, when I used to do this, and, you get somebody to write their food diary down. You think, is that really you? Is that right? Is that all we had? And it can be, little things can add up. It can make such a huge difference, right?
And to be honest, our brain is so conditioned to forget. So if you don't write it straight away, I can guarantee that by the evening when you do your food diary, you will have forgotten a few things that you had through the day. It happens to me as well when I, decide once in a while I do take a week to write my food diary. And I realized that actually, oh my God, but I have forgotten I had X, Y, Z. And, by the evening, I'm like, well, actually, I didn't have that much. I'm like, no, you did.
Selective memory.
So it's a natural thing as well. It's really natural. So, yeah.
Selective memory.
Yes.
So you cover absolutely everything. So it's not just going to be down to the actual nutrition. So as you said before, you don't necessarily stick to any specific meal plan, so it'll just be a very bespoke package for the individual person. Is that right?
It will be. I mean, I can't see that someone will change their eating habits to, let's say I have a lot of Indian clients who have a very specific Indian food or meal intake. If I were to give them, well, you have to eat meat, fish, vegetables, whatever, it's not going to work. So you have to take someone's normal habits and just make them better.
Right.
Make some changes. Make sure they have a good protein. Make sure, they're not based massively on carbohydrates, whatever it is. But don't change everything. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I suppose, yes, it's got to be very difficult telling somebody to stop eating rice, which I would love to be able to do. But are they going to do it if they're
not?
If their whole family meals, everything's going to be based around that? I mean, yes, I can imagine you're not going to stick to it. You might stick to it for a while, but yes, you're going to eventually resort back to old habits.
Yeah. Definitely. And, if someone wants to do intermittent fasting because they feel that it does them good, well, that's great. If it fits within their life, why not?
Right. Oh, yes, that's, it's definitely one that I absolutely love is definitely the intermittent fasting, and not just for weight loss, just for the health benefit, which goes against all my trainings in the beginning. When I did my nutrition and sports nutrition back when I was a personal trainer, I mean, to go without food, oh my goodness, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. But yes, it's quite fascinating that, research now is we're designed for feast or famine. We work with our bodies rather than against it. And we have seemed to have switched from, even down to the 3 meals a day into, I can remember when I used to try and lose weight, be eating something every couple of hours.
Yes.
Talk
Keep
about
your
on
sugar
your
levels level and
just all completely crazy. No wonder I was always craving, something, the carbohydrates, because I was just addicted to that. It was being depleted and I needed more of it and more of it and more of it on this constant surge. It's amazing. I haven't got type 2 diabetes, really.
No, it's
But
true. It
it
really is
but
about finding what works for you.
what works for you. Yeah, because some
And
people, if I was to say skip breakfast, they'd be like, what?
exactly.
They wouldn't be able to survive.
Yeah.
So yes, horses for courses. So there isn't one set. So you work with them individually. So it's bespoke, which is brilliant, because yes, there's never going to be a one size fits all.
No.
So what else do you cover? So you cover exercise as well?
I cover exercise, I cover nutrition, I cover lifestyle, habits, and mindset. So yeah, my 5 steps, as I say,
Okay.
that are in my book. So 5 simple steps to releasing the real you, which is mindset, habits, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and I add stress to the sleep bit as well.
Again, that's I think that's my pet. The understanding that cortisol is doing so much damage to so
It
many
does
people.
to all of us.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much. I mean, I'd love to have some easy test to be able to see how much stress somebody is under. I mean, we know that if cortisol is around, you're not going to be burning fat. So forget that one. No wonder you're struggling to lose weight. Reduce the stress. Do you see, at the people that you see, do you see that being quite a major part? I mean, I suppose that does link with the sleep and
for some of my clients, 100%. You can see, but interestingly enough, some people feel that they thrive under stress.
Yes. Yeah. But is that not a habit? That's the way they dealt with things. That's been a habitual way of reacting. I don't think any of us is really going to strive particularly well under too much stress, right?
We don't. And the more stress we're under, our health suffers, and at some point we'll break.
Absolutely. Well, we're just not designed. And I do think it's interesting, out of a lot of the various coaches I've had on this show from all sorts of things, cortisol does quite often come up. And I do think it's totally underestimated. I mean, it just, it is there for a reason and we do need it. It does make sense, but we're not designed to be under a consistent load of stress. Obviously, it's not going to be good for our health, because if everything's just going to the extremities, getting ready to either run away, fight, or hide, but we actually need some energy going on elsewhere in the body to heal the body, to digest the food that we've just eaten, all these things. It's amazing that it hasn't been, well, has it? Do you think people are getting it, that stress really is quite a major thing with regards to everything, not just weight loss and exercise, right?
I think they are, but they don't know how to deal with it, or quite often don't realize actually how much stress they're under. And like you said, it would be great to be able to just have a quick test,
wouldn't it be,
check our stress levels, cortisol levels, and it would be a massive eye-opener for so many people, for sure.
Yes. Because again, like you say, I think people are, it's working against them, because it is a habit. It's become a habit for them to feel that. So actually, for some people, they don't feel like they're alive unless they are under stress. So it's become that habituated way of being, but it's not necessarily going to have a good impact on their health. I truly believe, again, a lot of these things, a lot of the health issues are going to be down to, because as we said, if you're under constant stress, yes, certain things are getting fed and other things are getting left, and the important things are being left. So cortisol seems to be such a massive thing, and not just related to weight loss. So exercise, I mean, I know, you had a very interesting trip a little while ago. Would you like to share with the listeners a little bit about what challenge you took on a little while ago?
So I went to the Arctic Circle and to cycle part of it. in North Norway, which was really interesting on packed ice. I, to be honest, didn't like the feeling of being on that packed ice at all. So you really had to focus and keep pedaling, because if you stop pedaling, you just slipped and fell off.
Yes, well, I do think you must be under a little bit of stress there.
It wasn't nice.
but
the views were beautiful. It was, a piece of untouched nature, which was just incredible.
Wow. So is cycling your thing? Do you teach spin?
No, I enjoy cycling. I enjoy spinning. I live in North London, so I don't cycle on the road. It's way too dangerous for me.
Yes. Don't blame you.
So no, it's not my thing. But it was, one of the only ways to get around that area, because there's no roads there. So
right. Yeah. Funnily enough. So with regards to exercise, what sort of things is that very, very bespoke? Is that going to be just down to the individual?
To be honest, I don't believe there's a right or wrong way of exercising. It's again about creating that habit to keep going. So if you find something you enjoy doing, keep doing it. I was working with a woman some years ago who hated every minute she was coming to see me for her personal training session. And after 3 sessions, I said to her, look, I can see you don't enjoy it. You're not going to sustain it long term. You're not going to do your exercises at home afterwards. So tell me what you enjoy doing. And she said, well, I always wanted to go ballroom dancing. I'm like, great. I said, here's your money back. Off you go. And until COVID, she's gone 3 times a week ballroom dancing. And she loved it. I don't know if she's gone back now. I hope she has. But I know that until COVID, she was going very regularly and just enjoyed it.
There you go. So it's about doing what you love. Any activity is exercise.
So obviously for certain conditions, you might be better off doing certain types of exercises, that for sure. But when it comes to normal exercise and just keeping active, anything works.
Yeah.
And if you are very overweight, just start by walking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do whatever you can, slowly build up. You don't have to go to the gym for an hour and a half to have a good workout.
There you go. Yeah, you don't have to go and do HIIT straight off. Really not advisable.
even I did the other day, last week, I went to the gym. I did a bums, legs and tums, and I was like, oh my God.
It's really interesting. I mean, because that's all, what I did from the age of 20, and I loved it until I can remember with my first child, I was still teaching up to about 7 months and then having a bit of time off. And then the coming back was quite an eye-opener. And I can remember being sat on a stationary bicycle. Not that I would have ever gotten on a stationary bicycle anyway. I was really into more classes. But it was a real eye-opener because about 3 minutes into it, I wanted to get off this bike. It was quite humbling because it was like, aha, this is how it feels for somebody new coming in. And I can't understand why they don't love it, because I've been so used to doing it. And it was a very, very humbling experience because the first time in my life, I hated exercise. And I thought, oh, well, my whole career has been built around doing this. What am I going to do? And then again, because I suppose nobody's going to enjoy doing something that they're not good at. That's why you have hobbies. You go for something that you enjoy, and then you're more likely to be good at the things that you enjoy. So it was my first, okay. Yes, it's not so much fun when it's not enjoyable, but you've just got to get past that. And of course, then it's fun again because you can do it.
Exactly. And, you have to trust that the more regularly you go, like anything else.
There you go. But I had I had an advantage there because I knew I had loved it when it was easier. And so people wouldn't necessarily have that insight because they're just going and getting on and thinking, why is everybody doing this for 40 minutes and I want to get off after 3? Not that I don't understand why anybody would want to sit on a stationary bike.
Yeah, I do enjoy a spin class. Yeah, definitely more than the bums legs.
Oh yeah. See, there you go. It's all about it's personal choice. So I love the fact that you're not even sticking to one particular diet. It is all bespoke. It's do what you love. And okay, if that's what you love, then you've got to find another way to, reduce things or switch things up. So with regards to mindset, again, what would you because we all know that if you're not in the right headspace to even start an eating plan or diet when you're not quite feeling it, how do you get into that headspace?
First of all, forget everything you know and rebuild from scratch. I think, again, whatever we getting today from the media, social media is just so skewed that we need to look at it differently. But also remember that it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. There's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. Look at on bad days. Look at the positives from the bad days. Learn from it. Because those bad days are there to be able to learn from. What can I do next time when I'm in the same situation? Look at the positives in general and just be patient, really.
Right. Yeah. Be kind to yourself.
It's a lifestyle. It's not, weight loss is something that you have to live through and make the changes so that it's not an issue anymore later on. So it is a lifestyle change. If you got to whatever age you are and your lifestyle isn't the one that you need to have to be able to lose weight, then remember, you need that time as well to make those changes.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I suppose that's the issue. Everybody wants it now. We're in it's all instant gratification, and it just amazes me that people think that it's gonna happen overnight. It's with anything. With any kind of goal, you're not gonna drop a load of weight after your first workout. And I know some people put so much emphasis on the exercise, and then the issue can be if you are doing, you think you're doing the right thing by going to the gym and working really hard, you're gonna get hungry.
Yep.
So then you're more likely to overeat, and then it's gonna do that cycle. So yes, the advice of starting off slow is going to be such better advice, especially if weight loss is the goal, is not to go too hard in the beginning, because you don't want to get those hunger pangs. You want to fight your hunger, right? You want to, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure.
And the worst is, the machines that give you how many calories did you burn?
Ugh.
Or, you burn in whatever class, 1,000 calories. They're so wrong. Then you're going to, you think, oh, I just burned 573 calories. I can have a Big Mac now.
Yeah.
Because no, that's not how it works.
So to the listeners, obviously, depending on if you're watching this or listening to it, there'll be links to get hold of Anne. But just to the listeners on the radio show, if they are sitting there thinking, oh, I need a little bit of help to lose this weight, this lockdown weight, maybe it might only just be from that. How do they get in touch with you?
My website, first of all, which is Iarchy.com, or anywhere on social media, Iarchy.
Can you spell that, please, for the people who are listening?
It's ANEEIARCHY.
There you go. Awesome. So yes, you're on Facebook. Where else? Sorry, was it?
Instagram, LinkedIn, bit on Twitter, bit everywhere, really.
Awesome. So do you offer complete packages? How do you work with your clients?
Yeah, so I offer 3 ways of working with me. There's a one-to-one way where it's 100% bespoke to where you're at and where you're going. I have a 12-week group course online, which is all about looking at your habits and making changes and writing your plan and then implementing your plan. And then I have a membership group, which is a bit like an online slimming club with daily accountability, daily motivation. A few times a week, I go live, answer any questions you might have. So way more support than anything, the usual slimming club. But yeah.
Right. So that I would have thought that's for, maybe more maintenance. So really, I mean, yeah, we all know that
exactly. It is for maintenance mostly, but for some people, they know what they want to achieve, they know what they need to do, and they just want that little hand holding and accountability along the way as well. So
again, even that mentally is having that accountability. But I mean, anybody looking for any kind of change, whether it is funny that 12 weeks does always seem to be that. And it's
so my membership is a monthly one. So some people stay for as long as they need. Some people feel that, listening to me a few times a week is what they need throughout. So I've got a few that are with me there for a couple of years now, because that's kind of what keeps them.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing
sometimes
wrong with that.
That's all we need. Again, it's that little bit of a kick up the backside, a little bit of it's the perception, I suppose, of accountability. You're not going to be knocking on their door telling them off, but
definitely not. And then, for anyone that feels that, they can't really afford or don't want to or want a first step, there's always my book, which is called 5 Simple Steps to Releasing the Real You, on my website or on Amazon or in the bookshops, whichever way, ebook and physical book.
Wow. Sorry, can you repeat the title there? 5 Steps to?
5 Simple Steps to Releasing the Real You. There we go.
Awesome. There we go. Release it again. It's the words, isn't it? It's yes, we've got to allow that to release. So
quite often we know that, and I knew when I was struggling, when I saw that picture that gave me that, oomph to make the change, it was, oh my God, that is not me. And that's kind of what I was looking for.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you need that bit of a reality check.
You do.
And it is great, I think, that you have been through it, because obviously there's so many people that would naturally go into the area of personal training or whatever, and they maybe don't understand it because they've never had an issue. So I think people will listen more when they know that you've been through it yourself. You have that understanding.
I went to the gym, to a new gym. I joined a new gym, and I got with the new membership. I got 3 personal training sessions with the trainer. And so the first one was just a chat, and she asked me, so what are you doing? Where are you coming from? And I said, look, I already made quite a lot of changes to my eating habits. I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And she said, trying is not good enough. Or you're good or you're not. And I got out of that session. I switched off so much. And I was like, well, there you go. I'm not going back to her.
No, that I think is, some people may be motivated from that. Others are just going to no, switch. I would totally switch off.
Switch off. Yeah.
You've got to have a little bit of compassion, a bit of empathy. You've got to know the validation. Of validation.
If she would have told me, great, you're making changes. Much. Let's see what more changes we can do.
There you go. We want any positive. Shame. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It's been lovely speaking to you. So thank you for your time. And to the listeners then, you know where to go if you need help with this. And thank you so much for listening. And I will see you next week, or you will hear me next week with a Coffee with Karen. Bye for now.
Welcome to the Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.